everyone. Welcome back to our family farm. We're back on the farm. Good morning, Jesse, and good morning, Joey. Looks like Avid skipped a day is the only way you beat him, Jesse. I'm teasing. Glad you're in here. Jesse, I wanted to go on to your live last night, but we was driving in bad weather, and then when we did slow down and stop, we met up with Red Dirt Rooster Road for a bit, so didn't make it. Always love your lives, buddy. But this morning is, golly, December the 1st, 2024, and we are going to be in Proverbs 1. Syncs up with that day of the month. It feels good to be home, y'all. Love the vacation, but it feels great to be home. Let's look. We've got how should we read the Bible? Proverbs 1:1. Tough questions. Hey, good morning, Andy. Thank you. Glad we made it home safe to be here with you guys. Let's read this verse 1. Then we're going to read this tough questions. Then we'll get into the chapter. No worries, Jack. You and Nina will still be loved by us. Hey, we love you guys, no doubt. I always enjoy your lives for sure. It's entertaining. Never won nothing. But Jesse, you are a showman, and I love to see you take charge. Let's see. Verse 1 says, "The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel." And now we move over to this. Let's see. It says, "How should we?" I ain't even got this set up right, do I? The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, verse 1. Now this, how should we read the Bible? Tough questions over verse 1. The book of Proverbs is considered wisdom literature, along with Job, Ecclesiastes, Songs of Solomon, and some of the Psalms. As such, it offers a set of instructions for wise living, a handbook for skillfully living a godly life, the concrete examples of truism. I don't know that word, y'all. Truisms. Truism. I'm going to back up. The concrete examples and truism are meant to be generalized and applied to different situations. They present contrast between the wise and the foolish, and between the righteous and unrighteous, as well as the common consequences of course of action. Readers should take all of this truism not as promises, but as warnings to live prudently or to be cautious, lest they face the negative outcomes described. Helpful questions to ask as we read the various proverbs are: what virtue is recommended? What vice is warned against? What value is held up for our approval? Then we see, while some may think the ways of wisdom are stifling and behind the times, it is exactly that the test of time that makes Proverbs valuable for today's seeker of truth. Proverbs contains no new insights, no hot off the press theories, no latest fads, just the very wisdom of God given to show us the value of the straight and narrow and the tried and true. Okay. I stumbled through all of that. Sorry about that. Our treasured home, welcome in. Glad you guys are in here. Boy, My did I say good morning to everyone? Good morning, Lazy Days Ahead. Good morning, Joy. Good morning, Andy, our treasured home. Hope you all, I'm glad y'all are all in here. Let's see. Proverbs 1. We've read the Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel. Proverbs 2 through 6 has a note with it. To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, judgment, and equity, to give prudence to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and increase learning, and a man of understanding will attain wise counsel. To understand a proverb and an enigma, the words of the wise and their riddles. Now, the first note says, wisdom is a skill. Within the context of Proverbs refers to the ability to live life righteously and justly. As the rest of the book shows, this ability requires the understanding that God is holy and the one who gives order and meaning to the world. According to Lloyd John Ogilvy, wisdom is inspired depth perception into people and situations. It is the virtual thrust of the mind of God, into our minds, making discernment possible on the horizontal level of human affairs. With wisdom, we can penetrate the mysteries of God, His nature, plan, and purpose. Wisdom is the gift we need in order to do the will of God. All right, let's see. The next note is on verse 5, so we're going to back up to verse 5, read that again. It says, a wise man will hear and increase learning, and a man of understanding will attain wise counsel. That note says, Proverbs are often presented to two-line couplets that present either a similarity such as here or a contrast. The wise man and the man of understanding share this, but will seek counsel from the wise. The next note is on verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. And that note says, this verse presents the basic promise of the book. The Lord has all the answers to life. He is not only the beginning, but the source of all knowledge and the only one who understands all mysteries. To fear the Lord is to have a sense of awe and utter respect for Him as the Holy One, so that when He speaks, it is the final word. Those who revere God in this way heed His instructions and can rightly understand their relationship to Him and the word He has made. Psalms 111:10 and Ecclesiastes 12:13. See, our next note actually goes for a ways 8 through 18. We get into some new verses we haven't read yet. My son, hear the instruction, this verse 8, hear the instructions of your father, and do not forsake the law of your mother, for they will be a graceful ornament on your head and chains about your neck. My son, if sinners entice you, do not consent. If they say, come with us, let us lie in wait to shed blood, let us lurk secretly for the innocent without cause, let us swallow them alive like Sheol, and whole like those who go down to the pit. We shall find all kinds of precious possessions. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in your lot among us, and let us all have one purse. My son, do not walk in the way with them. Keep your feet from their path, for their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird, but they lie in wait for their own blood. They lurk secretly for their own lives. So are the ways of everyone who is greedy for gain. It takes away the life of its owners. Now, the note there says, welcome in, Angelica Olvera. The note says, the opening chapter of the book contrasts the wise instruction of a young man's parents with the invitation to join a violent gang. It is the son's responsibility to heed the former and reject the latter. His failure to do so will lead to his demise. What is called Sheol in the Old Testament is called Hades in the New Testament. Now, the next note I have, y'all, is on verse 8. So we'll scroll back up to verse 8. Verse 8 says, my son, hear the instruction of my father, and do not forsake the law of your mother. In verse 8 there, every time you see the words my son in Proverbs, take note. What follows will be a set of instructions from Solomon to his own son on some aspect of life. To work through these sections carefully is to receive an education in how to discipline your child. Law is the Hebrew word Torah, which means instruction, but it also refers to the instructions in the first 5 books of the Old Testament. Right. Our next note is verse 10 through verse 19. So let's go back to verse 10. My son, if sinners entice you, do not consent. If they say, come with us, let us lie in wait to shed blood. Let us lurk secretly for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them alive like Sheol, and whole like those who go down to the pit. We shall find all kinds of precious possessions. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in your lot among us. Let us all have one purse. My son, do not walk in the way with them. Keep your foot from their path, for their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird. But they lie in wait for their own blood. They lurk secretly for their own lives. So are the ways of everyone who is greedy for gain. It takes away the life of its owners. Okay, now the note says, the answer to peer pressure is to refuse invitations to wrongdoing from the wrong kind of people, sinners. To consent to their advances is the first step on the path of self-destruction. And that is the complete note. Now, the next one is verse 20 through 30. Read the verses and then we'll check out the note. Verse 20, the heading here is the call of wisdom. Wisdom calls aloud outside Wisdom calls aloud outside. She raises her voice in the open squares. She cries out in the chief concourses. At the openings of the gates in the city, she speaks her words. How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? For scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Turn at my rebuke. Surely I will pour out my spirit on you. I will make my words known to you. Because I have called and you refused, I have stretched out my hand and no one regarded. Because you disdained all my counsel and would have none of my rebuke, I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your terror comes, when your terror comes like a storm and the destruction comes like a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you, then they will call on me, but I will not answer. They will seek me diligently, but they will not find me, because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. They would have none of my counsel and despise my every rebuke. Let's look at that note. It says throughout the Bible, throughout the book of Proverbs, wisdom and folly are personified as a woman calling on all who listen to embrace them. Wisdom goes where the people are, in the open squares, in the chief concourses, and the openings of the gates in the city. Personified, she calls aloud, raises her voice, cries out, speaks in the public places of the city. She speaks to three types of sinners: simple ones, scorners, and fools. And verse 31 and 32, where we are now, has a note. 31 says, therefore they shall eat the fruit of their own way and be filled to the full with their own fancies. For the turning away of the simple will slay them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them. And now that note says, fools make a habit of continually rejecting wisdom. In return, they receive the fruit of their own way. The New Testament sequel is that whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. The final step in rebellion or complacency is destruction. What a fearful price to pay for rejecting wisdom's gracious appeal. And then that is all the notes we have, but we still got one verse left, verse 33. But whoever listens to me will dwell safely and will be secure without fear of evil. That last note is a good promise. But whoever listens to me will dwell safely and will be secure without fear of evil. That makes it worth it, right? Tells us our reward. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 6, verses 10 through 20, and let's get our armor on, y'all. Says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of the wickedness in heavenly places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand, stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness, shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, with which you will be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful to this end with all perseverance and supplication for all the saints, and for me, that utterance may be given to me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the gospel, the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains, that in it I may speak boldly as I ought to speak. And that wraps it up, y'all. We have our armor on, ready to face this day. It's a Sunday morning. It's a beautiful Sunday morning, 1st of December. I'm glad to be out of the cold country. I do like cold. I do not like frozen. So glad you guys joined us. Challenge you guys, one, to go to church today, or at least attend something online. Creekside Chronicles is coming up here in just a little bit. That's a great place to go if you don't have a home church. If you got a home church, get up, get out, go mingle against God's people. And two, I challenge you guys to be a blessing for someone else today. God bless y'all, and we will see you again on December the 2nd. Hello, friends. Check out Tony and Joni. Yes, Creekside Chronicles. Thank you for putting that link up there, Jesse. You guys check them out if y'all ain't familiar with Tony and Joni. It is a great place to spend a little time. They love the Lord and they love to share the Lord. Well, God bless y'all, and we will see you again December the 2nd, which is tomorrow. Bye now.